Hey, beautiful creatives. In my last Patreon video, I made a new magic journal. It's my Magic Journal 2 Art Heals. Most of you will remember the videos that I did where I made my Magic Journal 1, and that was the year that we were going through so much because we had just found out about the mold and we were staying out on the deck. And so this was my gratitude journal. I always did a page full of listing what I was grateful for and a page of a little bit of journaling, and then I would do a painting, and I did that every day through that summer. So all 2023, I have been saying that I was going to do it again, that I was going to make another one, and I just was not getting to it. So I finally did that with my patrons, and what I used for my background on the first couple of pages was the Brusho. I got out the Brusho and I played with that, and it was really fun. I really liked the way that the pages came out. I liked exploring with that. And then I experimented around with some of the Winsor & Newton granulating medium. And I demoed this painting using that medium. Yeah, and I don't know much about it. I haven't used it before, but as I was filming this demo, I really learned a lot about what I was doing wrong at first and what I needed to be doing different. So, I've been using these things, the Brusho and the granulating medium, with my older set of MeiLiang watercolors. I actually have a new set coming some point soon. So what I'm going to do every morning when I come up to my studio, and I just came up this morning, is I'm going to do my page where I list my gratitude, what I'm grateful for. And I'm just going to do that every day. I've got a few backgrounds painted ahead, and sometimes I may just write what I'm grateful for on an already painted background. Sometimes I may do it on a black sheet. Excuse me. Sometimes I may do it on a blank sheet, and I may paint over it. What I used to do the writing was my fountain pen, and I actually forgot to bring that up. I need to go down and get that because I am going to light a candle and I am going to fill out my gratitude page for today in my Art Heals journal. Okay, so I sat down and just videoed or thought I was videoing this whole intro to what I'm doing with my gratitude thing, and my camera went black, and that keeps happening. I use my phone to film all of my videos, and it keeps going black, and it's a very old phone, and I think it's dying. And I don't know what I'm going to do if it dies because I don't have anything else to film with. But I came in, I lit the candle, and I sat down and just talked a little bit about how important having a gratitude journal is to me. I was saying how, we all have so many things going on in our lives that are anxiety producing. And Dawn and I are no different. Sometimes we wake up in the morning and it just feels like we have so much on our plates and so much going on, and we can get really anxious about that. So having this practice of sitting down first thing and writing in your gratitude journal can be so powerful and such a blessing to focus your mind on the positive first thing before you even get started with your day. Okay, as I was writing, I noticed my camera was sinking lower and lower and lower. My stand that holds my camera is wearing out a little bit, so it sometimes it just sinks down. Anyways, okay, so I'm just going to take a few minutes to write down things that come to my mind that I'm grateful for. It's a great time to just quiet yourself and really be still, watch your breath, and just allow the things to come up in your life, and if that you're grateful for. And if things do come up that are anxiety provoking or negative things, just sort of let them, it's like in meditation practices, they say, just let them pass through you like clouds or like wind through the leaves in the trees. Just let it move through. Don't try to judge it or capture it. Just let the negative thoughts move through with your focus only being on what you're grateful for. Okay, and it's as easy as that. If you want, what I did last year was I went on to do a bit of journaling on the next page, and then I was like doing a painting. I think I'm really going to keep it simple this year. If I feel like going on and doing journaling, I'll do that. But I think for the most part, I'm just going to keep this as gratitude pages throughout the year. So that's going to be how I start my morning. Every morning is with my magic journal, my Art Heals journal. I'm really excited that I've started this again. And if you want to see, me making the cover and then doing the Brusho pages, the link to that, to my Patreon is always under the videos. You just click the little more button. Another thing I did this week was Peggi Kroll Roberts' Birds and Bugs zine class. That was really fun. She gives these classes. I think she does it like maybe every month or something. She gives a class. They're 2 to 2.5 hour classes. They're really fun. They're just, she loves to get silly and paint silly things, but also throw in educational elements. So this time she did a zine. She had us create a zine called Birds and Bugs, and it was really fun. Let's see, maybe I'll zoom in on this a little. So this was my Birds and Bugs zine. You could either use her reference photos or use your own. So I ended up gathering my own reference photos to use, but and this was done with acrylics. Really fun. I love that owl. I love how that came out. Peggi has such a great way of demonstrating painting loosely to you. I feel like her classes that I've been taking lately have been a real breakthrough for me in learning how to paint, learning how to get to loosen up by painting super fast. Like following her, she's like lightning. It's crazy how fast she creates, but you can't possibly get hung up on anything when you're following her that fast. So I'm learning a lot from that process that I'm actually even able to carry with me when I paint slower on my own. This bug, I have no idea what kind of bug this was, but now that I look at it, it almost looks like a mosquito of some kind. This was a lot of fun to paint. I just had printed out some reference sheets, and that was super fun. And then a cardinal and ladybugs, and the last page is a crow. So really, really fun process. I can't take it apart anymore because I glued it, or I used tape to put it together, but fun thing to do. As a matter of fact, I've shown you so many journals that I've made. Maybe that would be something to do in a video. I may do that in a Patreon video, actually make a homemade journal. One of my favorite journals that I ever made. I've made a lot of different kinds of journals over the years, but this is one of my favorites that I made in a Misty Mon class. This is the binding, and I loved this journal. We pre-painted and gessoed the pages and then went back. So the pages have this really heavy feel to them. And then some we did fold outs. I know I've showed this to you before, but really, and then some we just did like, I sewed on some of these. I stitched. This was a great journal. Really enjoyed making this journal. And then, but on a simpler level, I have a few of these that I've made. I actually don't know where they all are. This is like a junk mail journal. I just made this out of a paper bag. I think the cover was a paper bag. And I did my stitching to sew my signatures together. And then I took junk mail, I think. Yeah, there's like, you can see the writing in the back. I really wish I dated this. Feels to me like this was many years ago that I did this. But I don't know how many, let's see how many signatures I put in this. That might be a fun thing to do this winter, is make a journal with my patrons. So there's 1 signature, 2 signatures. There's 3 signatures in this journal. And really, really, really fun junk mail, just collaging different junk mail together. You can see writing in the background on some of these. And they have this great texture on them. Yeah, you can see writing and some kind of picture glued to the page back there. And I love these rough edges where things just hung over. Really expressive journal. There's a knot from where I tied one of the signatures together. Yeah, I like seeing the writing. This is pictures back here. It looks like a sheet of, a picture of a sheet of stamps that was in the background. Really fun. So that's something. Oh, I did have a date, 3/16/2021. I bet you that's when I did the last. I remember the back cover stayed unpainted for a long time. And this sat on my shelf and sat on my shelf. And I remember not finishing it. And then taking it out one day. And I'm like, why am I not finishing this and painting her? So I think I actually made the journal way before that. I think that's when the last painting was done. But anyways, that might be something fun to do. I do have a video on my channel on how to make a concertina book. And if I remember, I will share that with you guys. I got to write a note because if I don't, I won't remember. And that was really fun because I did a big full painting and then folded it into a concertina. And then another thing that I've been doing is some looking at some of the paintings from the old masters. If you remember that book that I recently bought that talks about copying the masters. So I've been sort of going through like wiki art and different art apps on Pinterest, looking up classic artists, and then taking their paintings and changing them up and painting them, putting my style and experience into the way that I'm painting them. Yeah, so this was one of them. This was one of them, and I believe the artist was Sir William Giles, I think is his name. I'll try to remember to type the name on the screen. But this was started out as a master, not a master copy. It was more of, I guess I should say, a study of his painting because I actually changed the format and moved things around and added things. So I made it more my own, but it's highly influenced, I'll say that, by his paintings. So that was fun. Not really my style. I don't normally use these sort of colors. So it was really fun exploring that and trying to get into his head a little bit and see how he worked. And then this one was Irma. Can't think of her last name right now, but again, I'll put it on the screen. Irma. I can't think of her last name. But there again, this was a painting that was inspired by, I used her painting as a jumping off place and then sort of changed a bunch of elements on it. But, and this one, I forget if I said, this one is in gouache, and I did it with the Turner gouache. And this one is in acrylic, golden acrylics. So lots of fun doing these. I actually mistakenly painted these in my exploration journal, which I meant to keep as a looser journal, but it's all good. It doesn't matter. Things get mixed in, and it all works out in the end. It makes for an interesting journal, I think, to have a little bit of everything in there. Okay, so that's some more of what I've been up to this week. I came up today to do some painting, and I started out by outlining with my MeiLiang watercolors, and I was going to do it in watercolor, but then I thought I would get out my gouache. This is an artist that I just discovered. It's Sir William George Gillies, 1898 to 1973, and I just discovered his work, and I thought I would do a master study of his work, you know, clearly not a copy because I've sort of changed the composition, but just as a jumping off point. I loved the colors in that. So I'm starting to get out some of the gouache that I haven't used in a while. I've been using exclusively Cenex for quite a long time, so I have all this other Turner gouache, and I don't remember what the name of this company is, and I can't read it. Anyways, some of that I have hardly used at all. And actually, when I went to pour it out, there was a huge binder separation problem with all of these colors from that company. It's a product I got on Amazon. So anyways, getting out some of my M grams, my Turners, some of it's acrylic gouache, some Holbein, some of it's regular gouache. This is watercolor, M gram watercolor paints gray. Just sort of really mixing it up because I haven't played with these in a long time. And I've got so many colors in them. This is the Cenex that I normally use. But yeah, I just thought I would get out a bunch of colors and sit here and play and see what I come up with. I'll check back in with you in a little bit. Okay, so here, I meant to take progress shots, but I got so wrapped up into it. Here's my messy desk. And I ran out of space on my ceramic palette, so I got out my Gray Matters palette paper. It's really amazing. It always amazes me how, you know, you look at a painting like that and it looks simple to follow, you know. It's like, oh, this would be a great painting to do a study of. It's really hard to follow someone else's thinking. That's what I find anyways. Like, why did he make the choices that he made? And then when you disagree with a choice and you go to change it, you know, how many things do you completely change before you've lost what attracted you in the first place to the study, you know? But yeah, so it was a little more challenging than I thought. I didn't understand some of his choices, and I kind of went my own way in some places. Couldn't figure out how he did certain things. Of course, this is probably oils, and I'm working in gouache, so I didn't get as smudgy an effect as he did. Let me put this up on my little stand. It's still wet in some areas, so might have a little shine to it. But anyways, that is how it turned out. I really tried not to get fiddly with it. I wanted there to really be the original brush marks and not go in and try to change anything after I laid down those original brush marks. So I just sort of left things as is. I wanted to try to get that sort of raw feeling that is in this. Anyways, there it is. So these are the books that I showed you in, I think it was last week's video, and this is the one that's really inspiring me to do the master studies. I actually was so busy with filming the last patron video and getting my YouTube video out last week that I didn't have time to do the beginning exercises in this, but I definitely want to. It's just first drawing the master studies, and she talks about the way to go about drawing them, you know, looking at value shapes. So like this whole shape up here, you can see first she draws the outer square, and then she fills it in. She's got this line here. She's got these two lines here going in. This must be the edge of the table that she's starting. And then she just slowly builds, and she tells you step by step by step how she builds these studies. And she says to do it in drawings first. I'm doing it in paintings right now, but I would like to go back and do these exercises the way that she recommends. Really enjoying this book though. So, yeah. I need some more time. I actually may take a week off of YouTube and Patreon soon just so I can catch up on some me time. But that has been inspiring me. And this is something I actually thought of doing with my patrons maybe. I'm not that great at doing series of things though, so I want to be careful before I promise anything. But this is a step-by-step sort of guide to experiential drawing. And I thought of maybe doing some of these exercises, or at least showing what I'm doing. Like every morning after I come up and do my magic journal, she says to start with, let's see. Right, she says to start out with blind contour drawing. And then she says your first 20 to 30 hours of contour drawing is to be done completely blind, as she explains it above. So she has a little bit of a different way of doing contour drawings than the way that I originally learned. One of the main things that she really expresses is first look at your subject one line or form at a time, and force yourself to believe that your pencil is touching the form you are attempting to draw. In this sense, contour drawing is more tactile than visual, since its success depends on your ability to actually believe that you are actually touching the form or contour with your pencil. So, and then she says, when a particular form disappears behind another or otherwise comes to an end, pick up your pencil, look at the next form, set your pencil down in relation to the prior line, and again, without taking your eyes off the form, proceed to draw it. That's actually not how I learned. I learned blind contour drawings just to do the outside shape and to not ever pick your pencil up, to just keep your pencil going. And then when you drew inside lines, they would be connected. So there would always be a line connecting every other line. So she actually says to when you come to a form that crosses another form, you're going to pick your pencil up. So we're drawing the head, and then maybe draw, let's see if we went like this off the head. I don't know. I'm still kind of trying to figure out what she's talking about. Because where would you pick your pencil up? Okay, yeah, so then maybe you do here, and then maybe pick your pencil up and go to here. And pick your pencil up and go to here is what she's talking about. And then I tried this exercise a few times. And I'll tell you what, staring at the object. So I was doing it of Don. I should have brought that sketchbook up. I was doing some of the drawings of Don while he was sitting on the couch with Toshi, and trying to stare at him and draw, really trying to convince myself. She says, you actually really need to convince yourself that your pencil is touching the edge of the person. that was so challenging because I would be going along and I would lose it every couple of seconds. I would lose it and I would go quickly. And trying to go very slow and pretend that I'm actually drawing along his face was kind of tedious. Anyways, I thought this is something that I might, some of these steps that she goes through. Then there's a partial peek and quick contour drawings. I thought it might be fun to go through some of these on Patreon and see if other people want to join me in doing some of these different exercises. So that might be something. And either way, I'll definitely show what I'm doing on YouTube so that you guys can see too. But definitely enjoying these two books and feeling inspired, even though I may not be completely following the rules in them. I'm being inspired by them, which is what really matters to me anyways. So, okay, that's some of what I've been up to. I've been wanting to fill this last fountain pen that I have with some brown ink. I have Eagle Line inks, but you're not supposed to use those in fountain pens. So I think I'm going to try to experiment with taking some of this bloodroot from, this is the Diamine ink. I think I'm going to try taking some bloodroot and some purple, adding some amber. I'm going to add some green. It's like a mad science project. Ooh, that might be it right there. Huh. Let me see what that looks like on a piece of paper. Okay, let's see. See how this is coming out. Oh, I think that might be it, you guys. Plus, because I videoed it, I've got a reference. Is that the color I want? Yeah, I think it's a good brown. I can give it a try. I'm just wondering if I want a little more yellow in there. I don't know. Do I want more yellow? I'm going to try to add just a pinch more yellow. Is this the yellow amber? Oh, that might have been too much. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay, that's with that little tiny bit of more yellow. I think it warmed it up a little bit, so perfect. Now, let's get it in the pen. Put it into the ink. Ooh, I hope this is going to be deep enough to do this. Screw it down and then screw it up. Oh, I don't think it's deep enough. I don't really want to mix up more. Okay, I'm going to have to find a different... I don't think this comes apart so that I can pour the ink in. I'm going to have to find a different container to make this work. This is the top to a water spritzer. I'm going to try that. I may end up having to mix up more ink, so... Okay, I got a bit in there that time. So I should label this because knowing me, I'm going to forget what this is. I think if I just pop it in here with my inks, I'll remember that it's my brown mix in there. So let's see. Let's see how this works. Okay. Definitely perfect brown. Love it. That's exactly what I wanted. Excellent. Cool. Okay, so now I have a brown, a dark blue, and this is the dark blue, this is the Oxford blue, and this is the Aurora Borealis, which is like a teal. These are all Diamine ink colors. And then I have somewhere, what'd I do with it? I had my ox blood somewhere. I think I put it back in here. Yes, then my oxblood one. I think these are so much fun to draw with. Good, so that's a nice color selection. This is the dark blue. I didn't put this one down. What's the colors I have? So this is, Oxford blue. This one is oxblood, but this is an oxblood mix. I think I mixed some stuff in here. So I'll put oxblood mix question mark. And this is my, I think this one's called Aurora Borealis. Aurora Borealis and my brown mix, which was oxblood, what's the purple called? Purple. It says imperial purple, but I'll just put purple. And then the green, meadow, MEADOW, and amber. Oxblood, purple, meadow, and amber. I think that's all I put in the brown. So that was my brown mix. Do you think I'll remember where I wrote my recipes? Probably not. Probably have to look for this video if I ever want to remix things. All right, so I've been wanting to get that accomplished for a while, and it's something I just never was getting to. So that is a good thing to get done. I think it was last year one of my viewers gave me this Canson drawing pad, and it is 18 by 24. It's only 70 pounds, so it's real lightweight paper. So I thought maybe I would do my contour drawing exercises on this paper. Since it's too lightweight to use with paint, I thought I would try it out with one of my fountain pens and try to do a few minutes every day, probably after I do my writing in my magic journal, my gratitude writing, to practice a few contour drawings. And trying to do it in the way that this author talks about in his book, Experimental Drawing. So I went to my still life table and just grabbed a couple of things. And we'll see what happens. I'll set them up in front of me and give it a go. Maybe I'll try my new brown ink. See how that goes. I'm going to set it up on that. Okay, so there it is, my first sheet of blind contour drawings, doing it the way that this author recommends. This is so funny, the oranges. They were a complex subject with lots of starts and stops, which is kind of fun. All right, so I'll keep practicing this. You know, maybe that'll be my warm-up. Every morning, come in and do the blind contour and then move on to the next steps in the book. It is another dark and dreary day outside. It's just been so dark this summer. It looks like it's late at night. It's so dark out. But I'm going to close this video out. I have continued to do my gratitude journal every day, my new gratitude journal. Really enjoying the process of doing this. And I have continued doing the exercises, the contour drawing exercises through that book. And this ended up being the perfect sketchbook for this. It's nice and big. So this was day one. I picked a few different items to draw on the first day. And then I took my little mannequin out for the second day and drew that. And that is challenging because there's so many different starts and stops, because she has you lift your pen when a form crosses over a form. So then today I decided to stick with that since it is such a challenging form. I thought instead of getting something simpler like a bottle or a vase or something, I would stick with this challenging form again for today. And it's fun. I repositioned his arms today, and it was a little bit more challenging with the arms repositioned, but yeah, still going with these exercises, and I'll continue and see what happens. And then I'll move on to the next exercises after, I don't know, a week or so of this, of doing the blind contour. I forget, what did she say? Something like 20 hours. You're supposed to do 20 hours of the let's see. Yeah. I am suggesting to you that your first 20 or 30 hours of contour drawing is to be done completely blind before you move on to the next step. So I'm not timing myself. I'm just doing it every day. And I don't know if I'm actually going to do 30 days of this before I move on to the next exercises, but because I think the next exercise is partial peak and then partial peak and quick contour drawing. So looking forward to moving through these exercises. But that's the start. Okay, guys, editing Linda popping in here because I forgot to mention a secret word. So let's use drawing for our secret word this week. I am looking forward to chatting with you guys in the comments. Okay, guys, on this dark and dreary day, I wish you well. I hope you enjoyed this week's video, and I hope that some of you have told me actually that you have started a gratitude journal, and I'm so happy to hear that. I'm really happy that you felt inspired to start one or restart one. Some of you had them and then are restarting it, so that is pretty awesome news. I love hearing it when you guys are inspired by these videos to create something new. Okay, guys, have a great week, and I will talk to you next week, and hopefully the sun will be shining. God bless you, and have a wonderful, healthy, creative, happy week. Bye-bye.